Okay, we're going to the university or the school of earth. Okay, let's pick out these lessons. I'm going to learn about forgiveness. I'm going to learn about abandonment. If you don't produce or work hard, then you're not worthy of love, which is not actually the truth of who we are. If you are watching this for the first time and are wondering who is the collective council, they are a collective of beings who have come together in collaboration and cooperation to help humanity and really the wider collective be coming from a place of love and peace as we're going through this really incredible time, this great awakening. I just hosted another Q&A with the Collective Council on the topic of abundance. This time was very interesting because what I did was I took the core questions, went through and shared my own personal insights so that I could kind of get clearer for the collective council to come through. So the first half of it was me sharing my insights from over the past a whole bunch of years helping people with prosperity and abundance. And then the collective council shared the channeled messages, which was very fascinating. I'm noticing a lot of shifts within me these days. You probably have been going through a lot of shifts and changes and growth as well. This is a pretty intense and beautiful time. And so if you do resonate with this, definitely give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and you could perhaps share this with anyone, a friend who also is going through an awakening process and could maybe use the support. And it is feeling like we'll be doing some regular Q&A. So if you have a question for the next Q&A, definitely pop it into the comments. I will take a look at it and we'll see if it fits the next topic, or it might even inspire the topic for the next Q&A with the Collective Council. So I'm Serenity Iris. Enjoy the Q&A with myself and the Collective Council. All right, so welcome to another Q&A with myself, Serenity Iris, and the Collective Council. Today, we received some great questions around the topic of abundance. We've been sharing similar themes like prosperity and your purpose, and this in particular is abundance. I particularly love that the word has the word dance in it. So, and they alluded to that in one of their messages that they are happy to dance with us in abundance. So, what I'm going to do today is a little bit different than how I've done other Q&As, is because I've been working with many people all over the world with abundance and prosperity. I just felt like it would be good to share my initial insights, and that way as well, it'll allow me to be clear when I channel the collective council. So what that will probably look like is I will close my eyes, get myself grounded and connected, and then go through the questions. I may open my eyes just to make sure I got the next questions that are queued up. Sometimes I don't always remember, and then I'll just go back into that closed eye state. And if you are watching this for the first time and are wondering who is the collective council, that is a very good question, and it often comes up in the Q&A. So I just thought I would share right now. They are a collective of beings who have come together in collaboration and cooperation to help humanity and really the wider collective move from a move and inspire us to be coming from a place of love and peace as we're going through this really incredible time, this great awakening. There's a lot of people going through pretty significant growth and transitions right now, spiritual awakening. So it's really to support us in that. And if you've been drawn to these messages, it very likely means that you are a leader in your own way. So it could be leader within your family, your work, leading, with your cause or your mission, soul's mission. So, and sometimes as a leader, it can feel like there's a lot of different challenges and different things that come up. And so them sharing their collective wisdom with us is to really help us see that it doesn't have to be filled with the struggles anymore. That when we remember who we are and why we're here, it opens up so much grace. And not to say that it's all going to be easy, but there's that potential that we can really merge with a new vibration, a new awareness. So they're collective beings. They say that they're a combination of star families, of angels, archangels, ascended masters, guides, Gaia Earth, like it's and beyond. So they are bringing together their collective wisdom and tools, different frequencies, energies, and whatever most resonates with you, you will likely hear exactly what you're meant to. So, okay, I'm just going to take a look at the questions around abundance. So, there's one that was submitted around um, creativity as a productivity source versus a limiting belief. I am worthy of love if I am productive. I'm worthy of love if I'm productive. So creating abundance of all kinds, not just financial. So how can we best work through this concept, find balance and tap into creativity as a source of productivity and abundance? So this is great because it highlights how most of us have been conditioned, right, within the 3D world, and um, hard work is essential, and there's going to be struggle. And if you don't produce or work hard, then you're not worthy of love, which is not actually the truth of who we are. But a lot of us have grown up that way, that conditional kind of love. Like, so if you are this way, you receive love. If you're productive, you receive love. If you are, whatever, then you receive the abundance or the prosperity. And so I'm really curious to hear what the Collective Council has to say. But what I have to say about this is I feel like right now, collectively, we're all straddling, like maybe one foot is in the older way of doing things, and then one foot or maybe a little toe is in the new way. And to show ourselves a lot of grace and compassion as we're shifting and growing, because that process can feel uncomfortable or at least unfamiliar. Like if something is new, it's going to be like, oh, this is different. For example, I was working with someone a bunch of years ago, and we were helping to balance her feminine energy. And the feminine energy is all about receiving and allowing. And the masculine energy is much more driven, and you have a target and you go for it. So she was used to operating much more from the masculine energy, and our world has been able to accomplish quite a lot with that masculine energy. And so I'm super grateful for it. And there's also this really powerful feminine energy. So, so, so what she ended up doing was relaxing. She had set up some good things in her processes for her business, but then she relaxed and all of these opportunities were coming to her. Like she was this magnet. Like she felt like things were just dropping out of the sky and landing in her lap. And and we had a very good chat about it. She said, "This feels so different. Like it almost feels wrong. Like, why am I receiving all this abundance and I feel like I'm not doing anything for it?" right? So I'm sharing that real life example because for many of us, if we've been conditioned and have gotten used to one mode of operating, mainly from the masculine energy, and it's not to say that that energy is about like it's not necessarily conditional, right? But that mode of operating, and then we are switching gears and we're like, okay, we're just going to relax and allow and have our ideal clients or the ideal opportunities come our way. And then you feel like, oh, but I didn't do anything to like earn this. And it's I'm also simultaneously like this morning I was studying about being given things without earning them. And that's not exactly ideal either, because then it can be loaded with guilt and themes like that. So, what I'm understanding it to be is that when we allow and receive, we're actually tapping into some spiritual principles and doing spiritual work of the surrender, of the letting go of control, of the allowing the natural flow, like the natural flow of the river. So the water is just really flowing easily, and there might be rocks along the way, but it just flows around the rocks. And that's what it is versus like, well, I'm going to make this extra hard because if I don't make it harder on myself, then I won't feel like I've earned it. And I'll either be punished or I'm not going to be rewarded because it was too easy. Right. So there's a lot of nuance with this. And if you're kind of new to going from a dominant way of operating and into the relaxing and allowing the abundance to flow, it might feel kind of different. I know it has for me as well. So, yeah, what else? Worthy. Okay, the worthiness. Oh, they're going to have a lot to say about worthiness. And I've been really absorbing those messages as well. Like, I am worthy. You are worthy. It's just, it just is, right? It's nothing that we have to earn. It's nothing we have to strive for or work for or prove to ourselves or anyone. Like you just inherently are worthy. So this is like one of those things in my experience. Like once I just accepted it. I just was like, oh, yeah, okay. That makes sense. And because what was easier for me in the beginning was to see that someone else was inherently worthy. So then if I was seeing that for another, I could then bring it into myself as well. And then vice versa, right? Like if you inherently know and trust that you are worthy, you'll also see that and recognize that and in many others as well. So this for a lot of people, including myself, has layers, has and by layers, it's like layers of stuff that we've picked up along the way that isn't really our the truth of who we are. So we're like, oh, we pick up unworthiness, we pick up conditional love, we pick up this and we pick up that. So then a lot of this, the process of this is a lot of like letting it go, is like the undoing of it. And then when we peel back the layers, we can see, oh, I am worthy because I am. Like I am. I am that. Oh. So this, I feel from my lived experience, is easiest when I feel connected with my higher self, with source, God, like when I'm feeling it, like when I'm not questioning it. I've been able to, and it's not that I don't dip from time to time, but it's been pretty strong and steady for quite some time now. And that's come because many of the things that I've lived through, challenges, I understand that my soul wanted to learn those lessons. Like my soul was probably looking at a menu of all the, okay, well, this is a good soul lesson, and oh, let's go for this one too. It's like my daughter's picking courses for her university, and it's kind of like that. I imagine, right? Before we incarnate, our soul's like, okay, we're going to the university or the school of earth. Okay, let's pick out these lessons. I'm going to learn about forgiveness. I'm going to learn about abandonment. I'm going to learn about whatever it is, right? So I apparently picked a lot of things from the menu. So it's just a very different perspective, and it's helped me a lot because if I were to live my life and look back on it or see things that have been unfolding and feeling like all of these crazy things have been done to me, it's that's tough. That's tough because then there's separation. It's tough because there's separation. I'm not connected with all that is in the source or with my higher self. There's separation, and I feel like a victim. But if I realize, like, oh, I chose all of these like advanced level soul lessons that were on the menu available for me. Oh, I chose this. Oh, I see. So then that dynamic or this occurrence was because I chose it. That that closes the space, and that just is like, oh, okay. So then all of this is happening for me. Oh, okay. And that's like a very deep, for me, felt understanding. So I hope that helps. I'm also curious to hear what the collective council says. There was another one about showing up. Oh, this is so good. How can I show up online and on stage with more of an energy of attraction so more of my right fit clients can find me and work with me? So they want to attract more group offerings for larger group programs and retreats. Yeah, this is awesome, and it's connected with the intention of clearing blocks that are preventing this person from scaling their business. So it's about business, but whether you have a business or not, like we're we're talking about abundance. So for you, like listening, even if it's not your particular question, like listen and see where it might play out in your life, right? So inviting in more abundance of could be whatever, health, vitality, relationships, different forms of abundance. So I feel like with this one, it's a it's about really remembering who you are, like really knowing who you are and knowing all the incredible qualities, like all of the experiences you've had up until now, all of your values, the things that light you up, the things that make you sparkle, like just really knowing that. And sometimes for some people, it's harder to see. And so if that's you and you're like, well, isn't everyone good with people? Isn't everyone compassionate and is a good listener? Isn't everyone generous and kind and loving? And in their core, they have, like, we all have all of those potentials, but the expression of them and the practice of it is going to be unique to you. Like, you have a unique signature. And so when you really know that and own that, it can be very powerful. And it's not even that you have to broadcast it. I've found working with so many people over the years, just owning it energetically is very powerful. So, for example, I've been told that I'm a great listener, but I don't have to broadcast. I don't have to say, well, I'm amazing because I'm such a great listener. I embody that. I just listen. Or for you, it might be that you're very passionate about helping people in your field. And you could also say that. There's nothing wrong with saying it. But embodying it, you start to project out this radiant, very attractive, very magnetic energy. There's like this vibe about you, so that when you speak, when you show up online, when you show up on stage, whatever it is, you just are showing up in this beautiful way. And then people will be drawn to you because of that. So let me know if that makes sense. And the clearer you are of about who you are, you'll end up attracting like-minded, like-spirited clients and people to work with. And the clearer you get about who you do want to be working with, it's a good question to ask. So am I also embodying that? So let's say you want to be working with a certain client who is very they're keen, they're eager, they're dedicated, they're committed, they really run with all the suggestions that are positive, and you know, they stick with the process. So then if that's the ideal client you want to attract, or maybe you're in a job situation, that's the whatever situation or dynamic you want to attract, then you be that, right? It's so much about embodiment. So I could go on and on. There's a lot more in terms of, do you have the right offering that's in alignment with you? And maybe we could have a deeper conversation around that, because that's pretty important to the vehicle, the offering that you are sharing with the world. You want that to be a very good fit and in alignment with who you are and your natural gifts as well, so that you're not trying to go uphill and like force something that isn't really in alignment. Okay, and then there's a question here about, how can one overcome ancestral or past life programming related to abundance? What's coming through for this one is that when we remember that time is a construct, so that, like, you've probably heard of the idea, everything is now. There is no past, there is no future. So if there's no past, do we really have fixed experiences of our own past? Or for those of you who understand like past lives or believe in that and ancestral things, like you can start to see it a bit more flexibly, like not as linearly. So if all of these possibilities are actually in the now moment here, we have a lot of capacity, great capacity to shift things now. So the right now, and okay, so this is where it gets pretty interesting. In a previous private session that I was doing with the collective council, they were sharing that it's a very interesting time right now because we're becoming more aware of things that seem like paradoxes. So the great example they used was that we are all connected. You know, we we come from this unified whole, and we are part of this unified whole. Yet we are all individuals too. So we're here having our own individual sovereign experience, and we're also at the same time part of a whole. So I feel like I mostly understand that, and I can also feel like there's next level awareness to that. So just like that, so if we have now, only now, which is like that unified version, we can also have memory of like things that have gone before and things that will are yet to be, right? So it's like, and that's all happening at the same time simultaneously. I'm sure there are other people who can speak more eloquently about this, but this is just like the ahas that I've been having very recently. So we understand that we have ancestors. We understand that we have family dynamics. We understand that we have also chosen from the menu, like coming in, the course menu. Like, oh, there's some advanced courses here on ancestral programming related to abundance. Okay, let's pick that one. That looks like a good one to take. Looks like a good course to take. So we sign up for this and we realize, oh, so I've chosen that course because in this lifetime, I'm going to choose to remember the true abundant nature that we are. So then, like when you're learning any kind of a skill, or if you're any kind of a new skill, for example, you go in. And I don't know why, but I was seeing a baking class. And maybe you've never baked in your life and you have like all of these separate ingredients on the counter and you're like, "Oh my gosh, there's 10 different ingredients to make this one thing called a loaf of bread," for example. You're like, "Whoa, okay, so we have to combine this and this and this in this way in this order." And it oftentimes the first crack at it is not going to be the most beautiful, and then you practice, right? And then you might elevate and go from making simple breads to like gourmet something or other, right? That involve many other steps. So then at each level, you're going to be presented potentially. I don't know if bread or cooking is, because for many people, it's kind of like this art and it's kind of easy, but you get presented with something that looks like, oh, this is what's a better example? Are those athletic competitions, or maybe they're not even competitions, like those marathons, but there's triathlons, there's all these big challenges. And then like the more athletic you become, you want to go for that bigger, longer, more difficult race or competition, right? So it's like you're upping the ante. So then you're like, oh my gosh, you up the challenge because you've become stronger. So we're in Earth School and we're like, okay, abundance, yeah, we're choosing the advanced course on abundance. And that means not only from from my own personal life, but there's all this like backlog of experience through the ancestral programming or past lives, right? So then we sign up for this and we're like, okay, this is it. This is like the big one. So we will face tests, we will face these like perceived challenges, we will face these circumstances that are shown to us so that we get to reveal who we really are. Oh, so if we're not really in separation, and if we're not really weak and disempowered, and if we're not all of that, if we're not a victim to our circumstance, then what are we? Oh, we're empowered. Oh, just inherently we are worthy. Hmm. There's prosperity, abundance that's flowing, like ever flowing to and through us, and we are that. Oh, okay. So, how can we express this? How can we shift this so that we aren't pulled down by something that we're perceiving to be outside of us or have been picked up along the way? And that's the golden nugget of opportunity when we can recognize that, right? So instead of, oh, well, I'm just like not abundant because of all the past life stuff, because of all the ancestral trauma. And then you're like, oh, you throw your hands up in the air and you're like, oh, it's just that way and my family and blah. Well, it could be, but this is like the deliciousness of being here on Earth and being incarnated, like as human beings. We get to have this experience of, oh, I can and I am much bigger than that. I'm not here to play small. I'm not here to feel like the weight of circumstances is crushing me. I'm not here to explain away, oh, well, that's all because of ancestral stuff I've been picking up. Like all of that is actually, it's the thing that's sharpening me, right? It's the stuff that's making me stronger. So the fact that I'm seeing circumstances now that might be like this um, projection or example of different dynamics that have come before. Oh, I see. I'm getting this opportunity again. Okay. And in that moment, you recognize it and choose differently, coming from the embodied abundance and prosperity that you are. It shifts everything, right? So if it's all in the now, can you see how that one moment of awareness and you being different has this cascading, like powerful ripple effect. So if there's past and future as well, like through all time and space. I had this very small but very big example very recently in the past week in my own life where I I went into and I was aware that I was reacting, but it's funny because I couldn't help it in the moment and I ended up reacting and I defaulted to an old way of doing something, but I was super aware of it. I was like, why did that come up? Like, and it was like this puzzle because I really could have easily chosen another, but I didn't. And I just went into that old way and I realized it was because here's that lesson that I chose from that menu before incarnating. Okay, here's that lesson again. And so it's okay if I don't get it this round, then it's just going to show up again. So and I'm like, well, I don't want this. I don't want to be I don't I don't want to be reactive again. So let me just get it this time. And so I kept like being with it and reflecting and contemplating and I realized I got it. I got it because if I hadn't been so aware of my reactive gesture, then I wouldn't have seen the bigger lesson that it was showing me, which was basically to not come from a victimized place. And that's a deeply rooted theme in my life that's being excavated. So you might be noticing stuff. And I thought, oh my gosh, am I not past this victimizing thing already? Like I thought I was done with this a long time ago. But it's like when any thing that hasn't been serving you is like being excavated out on its way out, like the last, like it's gonna try to like hang on for dear life and be with you and stay with you, like live with you rent free forever, unless you do something about it. So it's often not going to just dissolve quietly. It can, there's that possibility too, but for this one, it didn't want to go so quietly. So I was like, oh, so it's like I had to be conscious of my reactivity so that I could see it so clearly. Like it was very obvious. It wasn't like until I had the aha moment, but once I had the aha moment, I was like, oh, okay, I got it registered. Okay, I understand now. So I hope these stories help you in some way because it's not like, well, I just hope they help. I just hope they help. So those are some very great questions. I'm gonna go into the channeled state now and see what the collective council has to say about those three, on worthiness, about the attractive energy, and overcoming ancestral programming when it comes to abundance. So, right. We are so happy and pleased to be with you today. And we thank you very much for the invitation to share and to dance with you on this topic of abundance. The worthiness that you are is a very good place to start, as this is like the opening of the door to you receiving abundance, to you stepping into the abundance that you are. You see, if you take a look at your body as an example of abundance, you are made up of an abundance of cells that are all working so beautifully together. And each and every one of them is important. If you look around in nature, you'll see many examples of abundance, whether it's the abundant blades of grass and the trees that are all connected around the earth. And with each tree, there's an abundance of leaves and seeds from those trees, the abundance of roots. You can see so many examples of abundance in nature. This is a very easy access point for many. So remembering that you are a part of nature, you are a part of this earth. Why would you be any different from the nature that you can observe within the tree and the plant kingdom and the animals around? You are indeed an expression of this abundant nature. So we wish to encourage you to continue to recognize this, continue to recognize examples of abundance, continue to recognize when you have an abundance of ideas and inspiration, an abundance of all of these opportunities around. And we understand there may be times and seasons where it does not look as if there's an abundance. And it is like the sun shining perpetually. The sun simply shines its abundant, glorious rays. And there may be times when you wish to draw the curtains so that a room is not as bright. Perhaps you're wanting to rest and darken the space. So you close the curtains. And we also appreciate that there are times when you may feel that you are not seeing the abundance, in this case, the sun's rays of light. And you wonder, and you may feel that you are not the one closing the curtains. Yet, to this we share, you are so incredibly powerful that you indeed do shape your experience and your perception of all of your experiences. So if you choose to see things from a place of lack and scarcity, you have this incredible power and ability to do so. And we would not want to remove this from your experience at all. because it allows for a very wide range of your experience and the potential to perceive from many different angles this one theme of abundance. So when you have a perspective of coming from scarcity and lack, you would know even more deeply and clearly and vividly what abundance is. This is part of the glory of the Earth School, is that you have incredible opportunities to experience a contrast here. And when you understand that any experiences that may seem it is coming from darkness, that it is simply a tool or a gift, part of the whole experience, that it is not something that is being done to you, you start to appreciate it as being part of the whole of your experience. So when it comes to you simply being worthy, that you are worthy of abundance, you are worthy of love, you are abundance. Any examples of feeling that you need to work in order to receive love, work, or be productive in order to receive abundance or receive anything, is something that had served the collective for quite some time. And as you are feeling now, it is not the way of this time any longer. So this is why the question itself is coming up. This is why you may feel that it is not in harmony anymore, or it does not make any more sense to you, or that you are wondering and questioning and being curious about another way. Much of what is happening in this great awakening is a coming back to and a remembering of who you are. And so any experiences that have been rooted in perhaps the third dimension or certain densities or certain dynamics of challenge and struggle had served their purpose. And as you start to remember who you are, it is like you are realizing that outfit is no longer a fit anymore. It feels heavy and the fabrics are uncomfortable and very stiff. And while they may have been protective or served a purpose for one occasion, this is a different occasion now. So practically, how does one embody the worthiness that they are? Well, this is something that if you are ready for it, you may accept instantly, you may accept immediately. And if you're still wondering, or questioning, or it sounds like a newer concept to you, we encourage that you play with this, with beings and things outside of you. Although they're not really outside of you, you are all connected, but sometimes it is easier to see in others that which you are. So a young child or a baby, it is very easy to see the divinity, the love that they are, the worthiness that they are. They simply are. And you were once that child, that baby, freshly incarnated into this world. So that loving, compassionate, understanding eye with which you see that young child, with practice, you will also be able to see this with yourself. It's very simple practice. And it may be that you move through different layers of emotions, that you move through shedding of different paradigms. And that is all beautiful and very beneficial for you. You're remembering the purest essence of who you are. And so from this place, you will be inspired to take certain actions. You'll be inspired to contribute to others' lives or organizations, or perhaps in the deep work that you're doing. And it will come from a place of love and reverence rather than place of forcing or striving or feeling like you must do this thing to receive the love that is outside of you or to receive the abundance that is outside of you. You are already the love, you are already the abundance. So it is this natural outflowing and expression of that. Very different. We see you being very successful with this indeed. There is a question about being attractive to ideal clients and opportunities when showing up online or on stage. We love this question so much because it gets to the heart of you. You truly understanding and knowing and remembering who you are. It's this beautiful light of love. And of course, with your unique combination of talents and gifts, you knowing this at a very deep level, you will attract the opportunities, the clients, the guidance, the mentorship, all of it that are in perfect alignment and harmony with who you are. Now, we also understand that part of this is there are many who feel kind of an impatience. They can feel that this is who they are, yet the translation or the expression or the communication of this in an outwardly direction to others so that they may also understand and have resonance with this can feel like there may be layers, like layers of clouds that are covering the sun's rays. The sun is still shining. You are still shining. It's just perhaps there are layers of clouds around you so that the radiant being that you are is not being seen as it could be. Much of this has to do with things that you have collected and picked up along the way. Where they came from is not as important as what you will choose to do with them now. So you do not need to be looking for these aspects. They will make themselves known to you as you take your next step and next few steps toward shining your light. And for many, there can be the perceived obstacle of, well, I don't really want to be seen that much. That feels a little overwhelming or scary. I would rather hide and radiate invisible rays. Or so there are many different layers, and we will not go into all of them now. There, whatever the clouds or the perceived barriers are for you, these are indeed the greatest gifts. It is not that the clouds are the things that are blocking you from the true gift. They are the gift. So the way to unwrap and open that gift is to see it for what it is. So to see we'll take the example of you want to be seen and to be attractive to your ideal client, yet perhaps there's some aspect, some kind of a cloud that is saying, well, I don't really want to be seen that much. So then when we go into that, we can further understand more clearly what that is about, what the offering is. For many, it is about a feeling of safety. So safety is not in the external. It is not anything that you acquire and arm yourself with. Safety is something that you embody and you take with you wherever you go. So when you remember this, you realize, that little cloud there was demonstrating and highlighting for you one of those aspects that is ready for you to integrate. So you're ready to integrate that feeling and embodiment of safety. It is no longer outside of you. You accept it and you integrate it. So then that cloud becomes integrated, and instead of something that is obstructing the view of the sun's rays, it is now integrated. You understand that you are safe wherever you are. And when you know this, and every cell of your being, you start to shine even more brightly. This is a good example. You do not need to even verbalize that, oh, you are safe wherever you go. You are embodying this so that you are radiating, you are shining this wherever you are, and people will see this and feel this. May not be on a conscious level, but it will be very attractive to those who are ideally meant to connect with you, to work with you. There are other more nuanced things when it comes to an offering and business. We will not go into those aspects as they are very individual to you. So we recommend an in-depth exploration and discussion with a guide and mentor for that aspect. But at its core, what we've shared is something that you can apply to all the variations of clouds that may appear to be barriers. There's a question about being free of releasing ancestral patterns around abundance. Many of your ancestors were very much connected with the physicality of it all. Many of your ancestors have had various degrees of connection and awareness of their soul, spirit, all that is. And many of your ancestors had chosen a greater emphasis on the physicality of this world, where there was an apparent belief that if someone had, it meant that another did not have. And that kind of experience lived through the physical, for example, with food or other resources, can be felt, in some cases, can be tasted, and provided a deep awareness of one perspective, one angle of observing abundance. And with enough repetition, it can feel as if the programming is so strong and fixed that it would take an almost impossible amount of power to break free of it. Yet, this is part of the illusion that you get to play with. It is like setting up different levels of a game, perhaps a video game, where once one level is mastered, you go on to the next level and then the next level. So it is like the accumulation of the perceived hardening of the programming that seems so fixed and would require an impossible amount of strength or courage or awareness or resources to break free from. Is that quite a high level for you, your spirit? And just as in the various games, there's the skillful, there's practice. There are also different tools that you use. The tools and techniques that have worked in a lower level of the game for you, you may find that different tools and techniques are required at this level. It's quite a high level. We encourage you to use the power of perception. We've been speaking of perception quite a bit. Its applications are far-reaching and very beneficial for this particular example. So to use your perception to see something not as a problem, but to see it as an opportunity, as a gift. And we understand that this is becoming quite common and maybe ubiquitous for many of you. And we encourage you to really use the power of your perception to dissolve the shape and the perceived strength and power it has with you. So we are encouraging you to see it being very soft and malleable and very moldable and changeable. And when it is that, it is like when metal seems quite hard and fixed, yet when we apply heat to it, it starts to melt and shift and change form. You have the capacity to do this with your perception, with anything. So you're changing the perception of these patterns. Are you seeing them as something you are grateful for? That is one option. That is a very powerful way to soften it immediately. Or are you meeting it with the same level of hardness, stiffness that it is being presented to you, or the way that you are seeing it? So if you see it in that light, you will start to make assumptions of what tools or methods or ways that will involve matching it with a similar hardness. Whereas if you were to see it softening and melting and being very pliable, and you see it with great appreciation and understanding, and this is the next level of the game, is because it's activating within me the dormant capacities of my perception. So for that, I am very grateful. All of a sudden, how you're seeing it and perceiving it shifts, and how you approach it completely shifts. So with that, perhaps it dissolves, that metal dissolves and starts to build a platform, a foundation from which you may be able to stand and to start fresh. In any moment, you have the capacity to start fresh, to start again, to start anew. You have this capacity within your body, with your health. You have this capacity within all of your relationships. You have this capacity with how you interact with everything in this world. And it is the same for any programming that has come before. So you may start fresh. You may start fresh with the awareness of who you are, the worthy, loving being that you are, the abundant, prosperous being that you are. And if this feels a little wobbly, just like a toddler taking their first steps, their legs are not accustomed to that movement yet, so they may fall. And then they pick themselves up again, wobbling, taking a few more steps, and then they fall. And then they pick themselves up again, taking a few more steps, and it starts to become more secure. So this new place that you have started from, you've started fresh, we encourage you to approach it with a lot of love and compassion, just as you would for a child who is learning to take their first steps and learning. You will indeed become quite masterful with this. So if it is helpful to take the image of the metal that was shaped in one form, having gone through some heat and melting so that it can take a different form, which is a foundation and a platform from which you can stand upon, one that supports you, one that offers you a gift, and you start fresh. And you may fall a few times as you practice, and you will gain the strength and the knowing and the trust and the naturalness and the remembrance that you are abundant. This is what we would encourage for you. And as you encounter different scenarios and opportunities, you'll be given those spaces to express this in fuller form. And with continued practice, you will see the external effects of the inner shifts that you have been making. We have covered quite a lot of ground on this topic of abundance. There is also much more that we have yet to cover. We are so grateful for this invitation to share with you, and we remind you that we are here to support and to reawaken and remind you of what is already within you, and that you are meant to live truly in the most prosperous, abundant way, as it is vitally important for your soul's mission. You are not meant to be operating from, coming from lack, as you are the leaders. It is very important for you to be this endless spring of knowing and sustenance. And for those of you who are participating in the frequency activation series, know that this particular message will have an even deeper resonance because of the foundational work that you have been embarking on. So we thank you very much for the invitation, and we look forward to meeting with you again. Okay. Interesting. Lots of visual examples with that one. What I'm really appreciating is they can recognize where the question is coming from. They meet us there and then they shift it with their response to like, okay, well, this is where you're starting from. This is, a lot that you have to be grateful for. And there's also this. So I appreciate that. I appreciate that there isn't, it doesn't feel like there's judgment for the 3D or the dark or the, perceived limitations and all of that. Like it's almost like a softening towards that and an appreciation. I was going through the first frequency activation that's part of the 6 series. And I I well, I don't know if it was a mistake, but I thought, what if I lay down for this? And I was out. I was just like, I think I heard the first few minutes and then I was out for the entire rest of it. It's very common for me anyway. So I did go back and I was okay, this time I'm not going to lie down. I'm going to
Yeah.
sit upright and because I find it hard to sleep when I'm upright. So I did take it in a different way and both are probably perfect. But it's very interesting because it can have a very, or for me anyway, like I am experiencing some physical shifts for
So,
sure. Yeah,
yeah. Yeah.
something is being processed. Um,
And
yeah, which is like, I don't know. I didn't really know what to expect actually, but when it comes, it's like, oh, okay, you're getting an upgrade, but then like you're feeling stuff in the physical body and you're reminded of like I'm reminded of like the density of the body. It's
hmm
like,
hmm
oh, okay. But then like um I was feeling that a few days ago, and then yesterday things were just shifting. So then I could feel, oh, like there's some stuff that's releasing. So,
hmm
oh, and I had this like surge of energy, and I was incredibly productive and in an inspired kind of way. Like it was just flowing and flowing and flowing. But I'm not done yet. Like it's something is working through my
That's
own
great.
body. So I'm like,
hmm
okay. And yet, like, it's very interesting. I was still able to, I did feel like kind of sad for half a day, but
Mm.
then I realized, oh, I'm actually still able to do everything I want to despite what's happening with the body.
Yeah.
So that was a really good lesson for me, like a good reminder. So
Say,
everyone's experience of this is going to be different. Yeah, I'm so grateful for you
yeah,
and
no,
for your presence and sharing. And yeah, I'm definitely a full-on participant with this one. If you enjoyed that and if you haven't subscribed already, definitely do so. Give it a thumbs up and you can share in the comments what you most resonated with. I'm so looking forward to continuing these Q&As with the Collective Council. I'm finding them fascinating and I'm learning along with you guys. So it's also part of my journey as well. And I'm so grateful to you. Serenity Iris, if you want to check out any further resources, you'll see them in the description below. Website, free trainings, free vibration shift. So check it out and I will talk to you soon. Bye for now.